3 News has dug out never-seen-before footage of Key promising no job cuts when he addressed a conference of the Public Service Association in 2008. Since then, 2,500 jobs have gone and many more will soon vanish. He also argued against selling state-owned assets, the very ones now are about to be sold. Labor says Key has misled the public. Political editor Duncan Garner has this exclusive story.
Argued is we're not going to cut jobs.
That was the pledge John Key made to the Public Service Association in 2008 when he was campaigning to become the Prime Minister. He told these public servants that despite their fears they should trust him because there would be no job cuts. Have another look.
We're not going to cut jobs, we're just simply saying we're capping at 36,000.
I think he's breaking a promise. That was certainly a pretty clear statement of what he wanted to do. Now it's completely the opposite.
36,000 was the size of the core public service then, but National has cut jobs well below the cap it set. About 2,500 jobs have gone in the past 3 years. And Key will announce plans tomorrow for more job cuts and a merger of these 5 ministries and departments. A super ministry is revealed by 3 News on Monday. It's a far cry from this black and white promise of 08.
We're not going to cut jobs.
Well, it's obviously suited him to say that then, and he's doing something completely different now, so he's really misled the public.
Key wouldn't front to discuss claims of broken promises, but the 2008 speech is revealing.
So there's no agenda to sell assets.
And National didn't in its first term, with Key even suggesting they may never.
There'll be no asset sales in the first term of a National government, and there may never be asset sales in the years ahead.
Yet they campaigned on it last election and are currently selling 49% of Mighty River, Genesis, Meridian Energy and Solid Energy. But in 2008, Key spoke out strongly against selling those very companies on the block today.
They're highly profitable entities. The Crown's dividend stream from the Meridians and Mighty Rivers of the world is large. So on both motivations, we don't have a debt problem. They're acting, I think, highly effectively as companies, and they're making money. There is no motivation to sell assets. So my view is we're about creating assets, actually not about selling assets.
This is extraordinary because what we've been arguing all along is that the assets are delivering us a revenue and they're being efficiently run. And what we find is that in 2008, John Key was agreeing with us. And now suddenly we're flogging those assets off.
And in a response to a question that day, Key argued selling assets didn't make for a better economy.
Nor am I hell-bent on selling assets, actually. I personally think it's not the issue that the current economy faces. In the world of making the boat go faster, actually I don't think selling off state assets is going to make the boat go faster.
National says it's selling assets now so it doesn't have to borrow more, but this 2008 speech has come back to haunt John Key on the eve of another very important speech.
And Duncan Garner now joins us live from Parliament. So John Key's not talking, but is there a way he can justify these about terms?
Yeah, Mike, I think he'll have to do a bit of talking to justify this, quite frankly. Just on the public service area, I think it's quite clear there's a prima facie case really that he has misled the New Zealand public. He says there were going to be no job cuts, and of course it's been pretty clear what the government's done over the last 3 years and indeed what they're going to do over the next 3 years. So on that one, I think it is a bit of a gotcha that they have misled the New Zealand public around public service job cuts. On asset sales, though, I think it'd be fair to say that the world has changed. There is a much bigger debt problem for the New Zealand government now. Of course, we're borrowing $200-300 million a week, so the government's trying to retire debt, not, of course, borrow so much money. That is why that it's going for this mixed ownership model and selling those assets. So the world's changed, according to John Key, and of course, changed for all of us since 2008. So on that, there is, of course, a bit of justification, but Labor will still grab those quotes, no doubt, and head to Parliament next week in an attempt, I suppose, to embarrass and ridicule the Prime Minister for his support of those assets that, of course, are now on the block to be sold. Mike.
Thank you.